everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be starting my ranking of the Sinister Six franchises, which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, and Scream. I'm going to be ranking all of the movies from those franchises from my least favorite to my most. But I'm going to be doing these lists in parts of, or 10, it's top 10 lists for the next few weeks, starting today and then continuing each Friday of this month. And then the very last video, which will be my top 10 of the Sinister Six franchise, I'll release on Halloween. And everything. I've been working on getting this done for last few months. A lot of the guys in the Horror Enthusiast 101 have already done it and everything, so I'm kind of late to the party on here, but I'm excited about doing this and everything. So starting out at number 51 is the 2010 remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I really don't like this movie. I've only seen it a couple times. The first time I saw it, I really didn't like it, and then when I rewatched it a few months ago to review it, I liked it even less and everything. It's one of the ones that I would consider one of the worst horror movies I've seen and everything. Is easily my least favorite out of these 6 franchises and out of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I thought Jackie Earle Haley was alright as the character, but I didn't really like anybody else in the movie. None of the characters were likable. I think Rooney Mara was terrible as Nancy. Now I hate that they made Freddy an actual pedophile, like they literally say he's a pedophile in it and everything, which, I mean, yeah, he technically was in the originals too, but they didn't directly say it and everything. I don't like that they did that with this movie and everything. So yeah, it has some really terrible CGI. Like, Freddy looks really terrible because they try to use the CGI to make him look like a real burnt person and stuff, like they kind of did with Two-Face in The Dark Knight. But the big difference is, in The Dark Knight, they actually had people who knew how to work with CGI well. In this movie, they obviously didn't. And then I don't really remember any of the kills in this movie, except for, I think it's the guy from Twilight he slits his own neck or something, or his own throat or something. That was an okay kill and everything. But besides that, I just really didn't like this movie. The only other thing that I did kind of like about it was that we kind of see this boy who is having nightmares and stuff, and he's having trouble sleeping, which you could tell they took inspiration from the stories that Wes Craven had read about and everything. I thought that was kind of cool, but I mean, besides that, there's not really anything about this movie that I liked and everything. So Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 is number 51, and number 50 is Halloween Resurrection. This movie it's just really dumb. They kill Laurie off at the very beginning of the movie, within like the first 15 minutes of it and everything, in a really crappy way. I don't like that. I hate the way they retcon H2O and everything, because it doesn't make any sense. Michael wouldn't just trade outfits and stuff with a guy and walk around without his mask and everything. It's something that's totally against Michael Myers' character and everything. And then he goes to pretty much be retired, living in his old house and everything, and these college students are doing this reality web show in his house, and with a guy who's paying on him, played by Busta Rhymes. And Busta Rhymes does these really stupid, disrespectful things to Michael Myers and everything. It's just a really stupid movie and everything, and it's easily one of the worst in this in the Sinister Six movies and everything, and it's easily my worst for the Halloween franchise and everything. I just really don't like Halloween Resurrection very much. I think it just is a terrible movie. So that's number 50. And number 49 is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This movie isn't absolutely terrible or anything. One of the main reasons it is really just because of the fact that it doesn't really fit in here with any of these movies, because it's a standalone anthology movie that doesn't really have that much connection with anything to do with the other Halloween movies and stuff, with the exception of like John Carpenter doing the score and there being like little references to the original Halloween on TVs and stuff. But I think Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is an alright movie. I like Tom Atkins a lot in it, and I thought it had a pretty dark premise of them wanting to kill the kids and stuff. I thought that was kind of dark and unique, because you don't really see movies that would have the nerve to do that and everything. So I think that was kind of cool too. But besides that, there's not much about this movie that I really liked. It has that really annoying Happy Halloween song that the Silver Shamrock commercial. It gets on my nerves so bad and everything, because there's like a scene where they play it like 4 or 5 times within just like 10 minutes. It got really old really fast and everything. But like I said, this isn't a terrible movie, and there are things about it that I like it has some amazing special effects, and the score by John Carpenter is pretty good, and everything. So it is an alright movie as a standalone, but as part of the franchise, it's one of my least favorites. So Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is number 49, and number 48 is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. I do think this movie is alright. It's not one of my most favorites, but it's kind of like one of those movies that I am really mixed about. Like the first half of it I really enjoy, and then the second half of it I don't really like and everything, up to like the part where the redneck people get killed. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my glasses. The parts where the redneck people get killed, I think after that the movie kind of slows down and everything, and the pacing is not very great, and plus the kills are really neutered in this movie. I think that also plays a big part in it and everything. The fact that it's not Jason doesn't really bother me too bad, because I mean, it really wouldn't make sense to have Jason in there, because there was no way they resurrected him or anything in this movie and everything. I think that was fine. I didn't really care for the guy that played Tommy Jarvis as much in this either. I think he was okay. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but I like Tom Matthews and Corey Feldman both a lot better than him. But I think that also just has to do with the fact that this just isn't one of my most favorites in the franchise. It has some good moments and everything, but it just isn't one that I absolutely love or anything. So that's why it's number 48. And number 47 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. I enjoyed some of the stuff in this movie, like Matthew McConaughey's performance. I thought he was great in it and everything, so he didn't bother me in this. But I don't like the portrayal of Leatherface, and he does this really annoying whining yell, and it is really annoying and everything. Renee Zellweger is pretty good in it. I thought she was fine. And there's this like subplot at the end of the movie, towards the end, that comes out of nowhere, that has to do with the Illuminati and stuff. It doesn't make a lot of sense and everything. It just, like I said, it comes out of nowhere and everything. But this is just an alright movie. Yeah, it has its moments, but it's definitely not one of the best in the Texas Chainsaw franchise. It's easily my least favorite And it's one of my least favorite movies in the Sinister Six, but I think it's just okay. I can handle watching it if I'm watching the franchise, but I wouldn't just go out of my way to watch it. Just if I'm gonna pick one to watch out of the franchise, it definitely would not be this one and everything. But so, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation is number 47, and number 46 is Leatherface: The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I actually really don't remember a lot about this movie. This one is really forgettable, except that Viggo Mortensen is in this, and he's pretty good as a psychotic person in this movie. But really, this movie is not that memorable. I mean, there's not a lot about it that I remember. There's like this creepy girl that lives with the Sawyer family, or whatever the family is called in this one. I think they're Sawyers. I remember her a little bit, but it just isn't one of the best in the franchise. It's not absolutely terrible. It's just forgettable and everything. It doesn't have very good kills and stuff, and it just was an okay movie and everything. Not anything special and everything. It was okay. That's all I can really say about it. It was just alright. But it's not one of my favorites in the franchise, and that's why it's this low on the list. So, Leatherface: The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is number 46, and number 45 is Scream 3. I really did enjoy this movie quite a bit. When I rewatched it this last time, the first few times I saw this movie, I didn't like it. I didn't really like the thing with it being her brother and stuff, but when I rewatched it this last time, I was like, this movie is a lot better than I give it credit for and everything. I don't think it's a terrible movie and everything. I think that it is my least favorite in the franchise, but I do still think it's alright and everything. It's just not one of the best or anything. But I do like we kind of get more backstory on Laurie's family and stuff. We find out that she had a brother that she didn't know about, and the reason why he's the way he is because he's mad at his sister because her mother actually cared about her and not him and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and the voice changer thing for the ghost face was kind of interesting and everything. But one of the main problems with this movie is Kevin Williamson didn't return for this movie, and it shows quite a bit and everything. I think this is just an alright movie and everything, and like I said, it's watchable. It's kind of like with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. It's one that I would watch when I'm watching the franchise, but I wouldn't just go out of my way to watch it. As just if I were to pick out a Scream movie, this wouldn't be one I would pick out. But I do think it's an okay movie and everything. It's a lot better than I remembered, but it's still my least favorite in the franchise and everything. But so Scream 3 is number 45, and number 44 is Seed of Chucky. This is easily my least favorite in the Chucky franchise and everything. It's just so bad. I mean, this movie is more of a comedy and everything, and a lot of the stuff in the movie is really terrible. Like the scenes with Tiffany and Redman, and Tiffany's limo driver that has a crush on her and stuff like that. All that stuff just was not very good and everything. I didn't mind like the jokes that Chucky made and stuff around Glenn and Tiffany and stuff like that. I actually kind of enjoy it and everything. And if I'm in the right mood, I can enjoy this movie, because I do kind of have nostalgia for it, because I saw it in the movie theater when it first came out. It was the only Child's Play movie in the original franchise that I got to see in the theaters. So it does have a little bit of nostalgia for me, so I don't completely hate it, but I don't really love it either. I acknowledge it. It's not a really great movie, but it's an okay one in the franchise, I guess. I like it better than than any of the movies I put under it, of course. But and there are parts that I think are hilarious, like when he runs Britney Spears off the road and he goes, "Oops, I did it again." I love that part, and the part when he's talking about Glenn falling off the ugly tree and saying that his parents must be hideous and stuff like that. That cracks me up and everything for some reason. But like I said, if I'm in the right mood, I can enjoy this movie. But it's a turn your brain off movie. But I have to really be in the mood to enjoy it and everything. So I'd give. So like I said, I put Seed of Chucky at 44, and number 43 is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. This one is a lot like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I just watched this movie just a couple weeks ago, and I really don't hardly remember anything about this movie. It's just really forgettable. The main thing I really remember is Tommy Wallace is being played by Paul Rudd, who wasn't very good at acting yet, and everything. I honestly don't really remember much else about it. I don't really remember the kills very well. I remember there was a pretty cool scene at the end when Michael's like going on a rampage in the hospital and the lights are flashing, and the flashing lights kind of messed up the scenes for me, because it kind of like made my head hurt. But and I thought that the guy playing Michael Myers did a really good job in that scene and everything. I just wish it would have been done a little bit better. But I haven't seen the producer's cut yet. I will eventually, and when I do, I'll probably review it. But yeah, so I just don't really remember this movie very well. So that's why it's so low. It's number 43. And number 42 is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. This is easily my least favorite out of the original Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But I did like this movie somewhat. There are things I love about it and things I hate about it. Like the pacing of this movie to me is just really, really slow and everything. But it does have some really good kills, and Freddy is really dark and creepy in this movie, so I do love that about it and everything. And I love the scene like at the pool and everything, and the scene when in the one dream sequence where he cuts through the guy, the main character, I cannot remember his name, but he cuts through him and goes after his friend. I thought that was a really good scene and everything. The special effects in this are amazing and everything. There's some weird things like with the gay undertones and stuff that are kind of weird and everything, but like I said, this one is just an alright movie. It's not easily my least favorite out of the original franchise, but I don't think it's absolute garbage or anything like that. So that's why it's number 42. And number 41 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. I thought this one was alright. It's just, to me it's mediocre. I do kind of like the Jason versus Carrie aspect of it with Tina having telekinesis and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. And Ken Hodder does a pretty good job as Jason in his first outing. Some of the kills are neutered, though, pretty bad and everything. I think that's part of what messed this movie up for me, but I think it's okay. It's just not one of my most favorites in the franchise, but the Friday franchise is one of the franchises where in the six where I enjoyed most of them all pretty well and everything. I enjoy movies from all of these franchises for the most part really well. It's like I said, the bottom two, Halloween Resurrection and Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, are really the only ones that I don't at least have a little bit of enjoyment with and everything. But Friday the 13th: The New Blood is pretty good though. It's not one of my most favorites, but I don't think it's absolutely terrible either. It just, I think following Friday the 13th Part 6, which is my favorite in the franchise, I think that kind of had something to do with it too, because that one was a hard one to follow and everything. But this is a decent movie. It's just not one of my most favorites either though. So that's why it's number 41. So anyway, that's my ranking for the first 11 movies in the Sinister Six franchise. The next the next 4 lists will be top 10 lists and everything. The reason this one was 11 is because there's 51 movies. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Everything. Let me know if any of these movies would be in your bottom part of the Sinister Six ranking. If you want to tell me your ranking of them, you can. Or if you want to tell me like your bottom 11 movies or whatever, you can tell me that too. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll have part 2, which will be numbers 40 through 31 next Friday. So y'all can look forward to that. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.